Hello students, welcome to the lecture on depression and suicide, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain the mental disorder, define the eating disorder, describe the mental disorder treatment. Let's start with the depression and suicide, which are major public health issues for older adults. Depression is one of the most general mental disorders killed by elders, but luckily is treatable by a variety of means. Current associates of older adults in the United States confirmation lower rates of major depression than younger cohorts, but experience minor depression or important subsyndromal depression symptoms at rates equivalent to or better than younger groups. Adults soon to enter later maturity, most especially the so-called baby boom cohort, seem to be evidencing depressive disorders at considerably higher rates than preceding groups. This trend towards greater incidence of depression in subsequent cohorts seems steady. The reason for these changes are the subject of much debate and not clearly understood. Because depression tends to be a recurrent disorder, this means that many older adults will have experienced previous bouts of depression and will be at increased risk. Depression is not only an extensive disorder but is also a pervasive problem. Depressed older adults, like younger persons, tend to use health services at high rates, connecting poorer health behaviors and confirmation what is known as excess disability. Depression is also associated with suicide. Older adults have the highest rates of suicide of any age group, and this is mainly pronounced among men. A number of efficacious treatments are available for geriatric depression but seem to be underused. Pharmacotherapy and several versions of psychotherapy, including interpersonal, brief, psychodynamic, problem-solving and cognitive behavioral, significantly reduce depressive symptoms. Interestingly, when given thorough description of these treatments, older adults state a preference for receiving psychologically based treatments rather than medication. Geriatric depression will continue to be a topic commendable of much scientific and applied interest in the years to come. This resource guide provides some existing information we hope will be useful as you learn more about this important health issue. Depression. Depression is a common but serious illness. Most that experience depression need treatment to get better. Each person infrequently feels blue or depressing, but these feelings are typically short-lived and pass within a couple of days. When one has depression, it interferes with daily life and causes pain for both one and those who care about one. Many people with a depressive illness never seek treatment, but the majority, even those with the most severe depression, can get better with treatment. Medication, psychotherapies and other methods can effectively treat people with depression. There are several forms of depressive disorders. Major depressive disorder or major depression. It is characterized by a grouping of symptoms that interfere with a person's ability to work, sleep, study, eat and enjoy one's pleasurable behavior. Key depression is disabling and prevents a person from functioning normally. Some people may experience only a single incident within their life, but more often a person may have multiple episodes. Dysthymic disorder or dysthymia. It is characterized by long-standing, 2 years or longer, symptoms that may not be severe enough to disable a person but can prevent normal functioning or feeling well. People with dysthymia may also skill one or more episodes of major depression during their lifetimes. Minor depression. It is characterized by having symptoms for 2 weeks or longer that do not meet a full criteria for major depression. Without conduct, people with minor depression are at high risk for increasing major depressive disorder. Bipolar disorder. It is also called manic depressive illness. Is not as common as major depression or dysthymia. Bipolar disorder is characterized by cycling mood changes from extreme highs, example mania, to extreme lows, example depression. More information about a bipolar disorder is available. Most likely, depression is caused by a grouping of genetic, biological, environmental, and psychological factors. Depressive illnesses are disorders of the brain. Long-standing theories about depression suggest that important neurotransmitters, chemicals that brain cells use to communicate, are not of balance in depression. But it has been difficult to prove this. Some types of depression tend to run in families. However, depression can occur in people without family histories of depression too. Children who develop depression often continue to have episodes as they enter adulthood. Children who have depression also are more likely to have more severe illnesses in adulthood. A child with depression may pretend to be sick, refuse to go to school, cling to a parent, or worry that a parent may die. Older children may sulk, get into trouble at school, be negative and irritable, and feel misunderstood, because these signs may be viewed as normal mood swings typical of children as they move through developmental stages. It may be difficult to accurately diagnose a young person with depression. Before puberty, boys and girls are equally likely to develop depression. By age 15, however, girls are twice as likely as boys to have had a major depressive episode. The first step to getting suitable treatment is to visit a doctor or mental health specialist. Certain medications and some medical conditions such as viruses or a thyroid disorder can cause the same symptoms as depression. A doctor can rule out these possibilities by doing a physical exam, interview, and lab test. If the doctor can find no medical condition that may be causing the depression, the next step is a psychological evaluation. Once diagnosed, a person with depression can be treated in several ways. The most common treatments are medication and psychotherapy. Medication. Antidepressants primarily work on brain chemicals called neurotransmitters, especially serotonin and norepinephrine. Other antidepressants work on the neurotransmitter dopamine. Scientists have found that these particle chemicals are involved in regulating mood, but they are unsure of the exact ways that they work. Some of the newest and most popular antidepressants are called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors (SSRI), fluoxetine, Prozac, sertraline, Zoloft, escitalopram, Lexapro, paroxetine, Paxil, and citalopram, Celexa are some of the most commonly prescribed SSRIs for depression. SSRIs and SNRIs tend to have fewer side effects than older antidepressants, but they sometimes produce headaches, nausea, jitters, or insomnia when people first start to take them. These symptoms tend to fade with time. It is the oldest class of antidepressant medication. They can be especially effective in cases of atypical depression, such as when a person experiences increased appetite and the need for more sleep rather than decreased appetite and sleep.
Depression is a leading cause of disability, affecting millions of people worldwide. According to the WHO, nearly 121 million people in the world suffer from depression. Depression occurs in men and women of all ages and backgrounds. It is more common in women than in men.
Clinical depression. Clinical depression is a medical illness which affects millions of people each year. Though people often get the blues, clinical depression causes persistent changes in some person's mood, behavior, and feelings. The illness interferes with and disrupts persons' education, job, and family life. No amount of cheering up can make it go away, and neither can keep a stiff upper lip nor toughing it out. No amount of exercise, vitamins, or vacation can make clinical depression disappear. People with clinical depression need to get proper treatment, which usually includes medication, psychotherapy, or a combination of both. Clinical depression symptoms may include depressed mood most of the day, nearly every day, loss of interest or pleasure in most activities, significant weight loss or gain, sleeping too much or not being able to sleep nearly every day, slowed thinking or movement that others can see, fatigue or low energy nearly every day. Clinical depression differs greatly among people, both in its severity and how long it lasts. Some people suffer only one episode of clinical depression during their lifetime, while others experiences recurring episodes. Also, people suffer from two basic types of clinical depression. Major depression, also called unipolar depression. This illness is identified by many of the symptoms. Manic depression, also called bipolar depression. This illness causes alternate cycles of depression or manic relation. During a manic phase, some or all of the following symptoms often appear: increased energy and decreased need for sleep, inappropriate excitement or irritability, increased talking or moving, promiscuous sexual behavior, disconnection and racing thoughts. Current theory suggests those clinical depression results from complex interaction between brain chemicals and hormones that influence a person's energy level, feelings, sleeping and eating habits. These chemical interactions are linked to many complex causes: a person's family history of illness, biochemical and psychological makeup, prolonged stress and traumatic life, sometimes no identifiable cause, triggers an episode of clinical depression. Usually one or more stresses are involved.
Nearly 20 million Americans suffer from clinical depression, but what exactly is clinical depression?
Most people know what depression is. Almost everyone suffers from occasional depression with symptoms like sadness, pessimism, and low energy. It is only when depression lasts 2 weeks or more that it becomes a clinical disorder, at which point it is called major depression. It is important to understand that when someone has depression, there are actual physical changes in the structure of the brain.
Risk factors for depression. Many factors can increase a person's risk of developing depression. For some types of depression, family history appears to play a role. Certain medication can also increase the risk. There are also some medical conditions that increase the risk of depression, including diabetics. In addition, stress and hormonal factors can also increase a person's risk of having depression. According to major surveys, major depressive disorder affects nearly 15 million Americans, nearly 7% of the adult population in a given year. While depression is an illness that can afflict anyone at any time in their life, the average age of onset is 32, although adults aged 49 to 54 years are the age group with the highest rates of depression. Other major risk factors for depression include being female, being African American, and living in poverty. The causes of such higher rates of depression may be due in part to hormonal factors. Puberty. While both boys and girls have similar rates of depression before puberty, girls have twice the risk for depression once they reach puberty. In addition to hormonal factors, socio-cultural factors may also affect the development of depression in girls in this age group. Menstruation. While many women experience mood changes around the time of menstruation, a small percentage of women suffer from a condition called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, PMDD. PMDD is a specific psychiatric syndrome that includes severe depression, irritability, and tension before menstruation. Pregnancy and childbirth. Hormonal fluctuations that occur during and after pregnancy, especially when combined with relationship stresses and anxiety, can contribute to depression. Perimenopause and menopause. Hormonal fluctuations that can trigger depression also occur when a woman is transitioning to menopause, perimenopause. Sleep disruptions are also common during perimenopause and may contribute to depression. Once women pass into menopause, depressive symptoms generally tend to wane. Some research suggests that depression in men is associated with the following indicators: low tolerance to stress, behaviors such as acting out and being impulsive, a history of alcohol or substance abuse, family history of depression, alcohol abuse or suicide. Depression can occur in children of all ages, although adolescents have the highest risk. Risk factors for depression in young people include having parents with depression, particularly if it is the mother who is depressed. Early negative experiences and exposure to stress, neglect, or abuse also pose a risk for depression. Adolescents who have depression are at significantly higher risk for substance abuse, recurring depression, and other emotional and mental health problems in adulthood. About 1 to 5% of elderly people suffer from depression. The rate increases significantly for those who have other chronic health problems, especially medical conditions such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, heart disease, and cancer that interfere with functional abilities. Depression also occurs in some elderly people who require home health care or hospitalization. In addition, older people often have to contend with significant stressful life changes such as the loss of a spouse. Suicide in the elderly is the third leading cause of death related to injury. Men account for majority of these suicides with divorced or widowed men at highest risk. Like heart disease and alcoholism, clinical depression often runs in families. More than twice as many women than men suffer from clinical depression, and 25% of women and 10% of men will suffer one or more episodes of clinical depressions in their lifetimes. Those clinical depression strikes people of all ages. It strikes most often among those aged 24 to 44. The elderly also frequently suffer from clinical depression. The sad moods, fatigue, and withdrawal from life are often mistaken as a normal part of the aging process. For many older people, clinical depressions linked to the death of a spouse, admission to a nursing home, prolonged illness, or a major operation such as heart surgery. The elderly depressed are much higher risk for suicide than younger depressed. Self-injury. Self-injury is a way of dealing with very difficult feelings that build up inside. Many people with eating disorder also engage in the act of self-injury. Just like the eating disorders are used to help the individual cope, the act of injuring oneself is also used to help cope with blocked out and release built up feelings and emotions. Self-injury is probably the most widely misunderstood forms of self-harm, and there are many myths associated with it, which can be made it difficult for people to reach out and ask for help. Self-injury, self-harm, self-mutilation can be defined as the attempt to deliberately cause harm to one's own body, and the injury is usually severe enough to cause tissue damage. This is not a conscious attempt at suicide, though some people may see it that way. There are 3 types of self-injury. The rarest and most extreme form is major self-mutilation. This form usually results in permanent disfigurement, that is, castration or limb amputation. Another form is stereotype self-mutilation, which usually consists of head banging, eyeball pressing, and biting. The third and most common form is superficial self-mutilation, which usually involves cutting, burning, hair pulling, bone breaking, hitting, interference with wound healing, and basically any method used to harm oneself. Self-injury can occur in either sex and in any race of people. The behavior is not limited by education, age, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, or religion. However, there are some common factors among people who engage in self-injury. Self-injury occurs more often among adolescent females, people who have a history of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, people who have coexisting problems of substance abuse, obsessive compulsive disorder or eating disorder, individuals who were raised in families that discourage expression of anger, individuals who lack skills to express their emotions and lack a good social support network. One may want to stop injuring yourself but have worries about it, such as feeling embarrassed, depressed about anything ever getting better, afraid that one might end up dead, helpless, one do not know what to do for the best, guilty because one cannot stop harming yourself even if one wants to, isolated, one do not know who to talk to, hating one for not being what people want, upset, cannot keep feelings in, or maybe one cannot let them out, worried, in case people think one is just attention seeking. If an individual shows sign of self-injury, a mental health professional with self-injury expertise should be consulted. The mental health professional will be able to make an evaluation and recommend a course of treatment. Self-injury can be a symptom of psychiatric illness including personality disorder, particularly borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder, major depression, anxiety disorder, particularly obsessive compulsive disorder, schizophrenia. Suicide. Can anyone tell me why people suicide? Suicide is the act of one who causes his own death, either by positively destroying his own life, as by inflicting on himself a mortal wound or injury, or by omitting to do what is necessary to escape death, as by refusing to leave a burning house. From a moral standpoint, we must treat, therefore, not only the prohibition of positive suicide, but also the obligation incumbent on man to preserve his life. Suicide is direct when a man has the intention of causing his own death, whether as an end to be attained or as a means to another end, as when a man kills himself to escape condemnation, disgrace, ruin, etc. It is indirect and not usually called by this name when a man does not desire it either as an end or as a means, but when he nevertheless commits an act which an effect involves death, as when he devotes himself to the care of the plague-stricken, knowing that he will succumb under the task. The effects of suicidal behavior or completed suicide on friends and family members are often devastating. Individuals who lost a loved one to suicide are more at risk for becoming preoccupied with the reason for the suicide while wanting to deny or hide the cause of death, wondering if they could have prevented it, feeling blamed for the problems that preceded the suicide, feeling rejected by their loved ones and stigmatized by others. Although the reason why people commit suicide are multifaceted and complex, life circumstances that may immediately precede someone's committing suicide include the time period of at least a week after discharge from a psychiatric hospital or a sudden change in how the person appears to feel. For example, much worse or much better. Example of possible triggers for suicide are real or imagined losses like the breakup of a romantic relationship, moving loss of a friend, loss of freedom, or loss of other privileges. Suicide prevention. Students, tell me some security measures to prevent from suicide. Suicide is a serious public health problem that can have lasting harmful effects on individuals, families, and communities. While its causes are complex and determined by multiple factors, the goal of suicide prevention is simple. Reduce factors that increase risk and increase factors that promote resilience, that is protective factors. Ideally, prevention addresses all levels of influence: individual, relationship, community, and societal. Effective prevention strategies are needed to promote awareness of suicide and encourage a commitment to social change. Cluster suicide. A group of suicides grouped by time, all proximal to each other but not typically simultaneous, and grouped by association in a typically small, interactive quasi-community such as a high school. The dynamics of this are not entirely clear to anyone at this time, but it is thought that one suicide in a closely knit group may serve as a trigger to a cluster of suicide within that quasi-community. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Depression is one of the most general mental disorders killed by elders, but luckily is treatable by a variety of means. There are several forms of depressive disorders: dysthymic disorder or dysthymia, minor depression, bipolar depression. Clinical depression is a medical illness which affects millions of people each year. Many factors can increase a person's risk of developing depression. For some types of depression, family history appears to play a role. Self-injury is a way of dealing with very difficult feelings that build up inside. Suicide is the act of one who causes his own death, either by positively destroying his own life as by inflicting on himself a mortal wound or injury, or by omitting to do what is necessary to escape death as by refusing to leave a burning house. A group of suicides grouped by time, all proximal to each other but not typically simultaneous, and grouped by association in a typically small interactive quasi-community such as a high school.